welcome to Connections for Life. I'm Ted Pete.
I'm Chad Kuvo. Well undercooked today.
You just are gonna straight up call yourself Chad Kuvo?
Yeah, just undercooked.
That wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't.
You should have planned that better.
I tried.
You could have been like the McKuvo.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
Or the
Then I would have just been an Irish Chad Kuvo.
Why do you have a fry spider in your head?
Accident. I had an accident in the fryer.
Fryer?
It squished your head down too. Hello, boys. How are you?
There he is.
What can I get you?
You could have just came in with that.
I like that one. This is
I
that
was
one.
waiting for that.
This is that one. I'm
Can I
gonna
get
hold
you?
show. I'm actually gonna find you one of those hats for real.
Supersized, please. How was your weekend, Joe?
It was good.
What'd you cook, Joe? Remember like a couple weeks ago when you were like, we always say the same thing over the weekend?
Oh,
Maybe we
yeah.
should say what we cooked. See?
What the heck did I cook?
What happened to me? Oh, there.
I ate salad. Oh, I made some chicken tenders last night and some broccoli and stuff. Yeah. No, it was good. The kids just had, I got 2 weeks of reprieve and now it's just like sports and
Back
game
at
and
it.
practice and sports and practice
Yeah,
and game.
have fun for the next 10 years.
Macy had a game Friday and 2 games on Saturday and softball practice on Saturday. Lila had a game on Saturday. It was good. They played pretty well. Nothing too nutty out there. No, I mean, just I think so the way that it works in Auburn is there's like 2 girls teams, right? There's a red team and a white team because there's so many girls. So the white team played the red team this week, and both of my girls play on the red team. And
How's the white team?
They smoked the white team 7-2. It was pretty funny though. I was talking to one of the dads from the other league, because Macy plays U11 and U14, and
she's
they were
10, right?
They're playing a U14 game, and I was talking to one of the dads. I hadn't met him before, and he's like, "Your daughter's Macy, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, she's gonna be a heck of a little forward. You can just tell." Like, I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What grade is she?" And I go, "5th." He was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, she's 10. She'll be 11 in June of next year." He was like, "Oh wow." So yeah, she's doing really good. Lila's playing great too. Lila's just so cool and calm and smooth back there. She's just really good. And then there's Bugsy.
She must definitely get that from her mom.
No, I mean, I think I was more like Lila as a player, but I don't know. Who knows? I don't even remember. I don't remember even playing soccer. So they were
That's
asking
how I feel. That's how I feel about hockey, man.
They were asking me about like when I played. I'm like, I don't even remember one game. I
remember like 7 plays, and I played like 1,000 hockey games.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So I mean, it was good though. I don't know. What about you guys?
Chad? No, Chad, what'd you do?
I don't know. I watched.
He worked the night shift at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I watched Logan play hockey like every other weekend. He had a really good weekend. I watched Zoe play some basketball and lacrosse like every other weekend, and didn't cook anything. I think we ate out a lot this weekend actually.
That's like my big New Year's thing, man. Like I told the girls, we're not eating out anymore. Like I'm cooking. I'm not buying crap food anymore.
So like I did a budgeting plan. Obviously New Year, you try to do your budget. Well, no, you don't do any of that, Chad. So Lindsay does the budgeting and stuff like that.
No, she doesn't either.
No. But
it doesn't really change. Like
I just wanted to like track how much money I wasted on things was really why I wanted.
Oh, you mean how much Eileen has wasted on things is what you're saying.
No, how much I waste on stuff.
Dude,
And I'm
honestly,
like,
it's food. Eating out is
it's January,
destroy you.
And we've spent $600 eating out. Now.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
300 and something of that was a really big fancy New Year's Eve dinner, but it's January 10th. So like $300 in eating
because
out.
Honest, you know what? Dude, you got 2 grown like teenage kids, like whatever. We're all about in the same game. I got an extra one, but you go out and you eat, and it's like you'll spend 60, 70.
Dude, Logan's a $30 meal.
Like, that's what I mean.
He can't just have like dinner. It's got to be an appetizer and dinner. And
right. That's what I mean. So you're in 70, 80 bucks. And like there are times we do that twice a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick will eat 2 meals.
Yep.
Literally, he'll order. I want a number. He's like, I want boneless wings and a cheeseburger. And I'm like, all right. Thanks.
Yeah. And then like, even if you go to McDonald's and order,
you're talking about the kids' meals, right?
No.
And do you guys remember like, and maybe it's just me, but fast food's so expensive now.
Everything's expensive.
It didn't.
Yeah, but like
fast food.
Kid, though. Yeah, you could go to Taco Bell with the $10.
Oh,
like
100%. And eat, yeah, you can take your whole car of friends for $10 at
Right.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Now, like $10 is nothing.
You get get 2 tacos, a burrito, and a large soda.
Yeah, it's insane.
Crazy.
Anyways,
sorry,
crazy.
Digress.
Well, so we had a basketball game Friday night for the school, and it was like the rivalry game, Elmira versus Horseheads. And my basketball program, we had a lot of kids playing on the both JV teams, and the varsity teams of both teams. So it was really, really cool. We the Elmira boys pulled out the JV win. The Horseheads boys started out really fast. It was funny. They jumped out like 18-2 on our JV team because 2 of our City of Light players went nuts. They hit 3 after 3 after 3. They came out crazy. And then the City of Light Elmira boys brought the game back, and it was really cool. Nick got in. Nick scored a couple quick buckets. I was real happy for him. You know,
he got some playing time.
Got a little PT. Yeah, got a little PT. He a couple boards, couple steals, couple points in the last
awesome.
5 minutes of the game. So it was cool. And then the varsity game was a battle. The Elmira team jumped out big, and the Horses team fell behind, and then they fought all the way back and then won as time expired. The Horses came all the way back and won. So it was really cool. And then, unfortunately, Saturday I had to go to a funeral for a good friend of mine who passed away. So it was really a celebration of life, not a funeral. And then
way to bring down the.
I don't really want to be friends with you anymore.
Seriously,
I'm not your friend. I don't like you guys.
Oh,
good. Yes.
You guys are sick.
That adds another 20 years.
Minutes.
No. But other than that, yeah, we had some real ice up here. Did you get the ice, Joe? Like it was like a winter wonderland when you walked outside yesterday. It was just a sheet of ice everywhere.
So Macy stayed at her friend's house on Friday night. And it
was Saturday night. Ice came Saturday night.
Saturday night, yeah, sorry. Yeah. So Callie and I were still upstairs in bed. Lila was still in bed. We were just hanging out. And Macy had to come home early because the family that she was with had something to do. I hadn't even been downstairs yet. So I just hear the door come in, and Macy comes upstairs, and she's like, "Have you been outside?" And I was like, "No." She goes, "It's like an ice rink out there." She goes, "I had to walk into the grass, into the snow." And she goes, "I almost fell a whole bunch of times." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I went out there and I opened the door, and it was literally like, everything was a sheet of ice. Yeah. So anyways, what else? What are we going to do? Is this it?
That ice doesn't really go away till it gets warmer either. I mean,
it got warm like that afternoon.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. It's been a bizarre weather. It's been like 12 degrees, 40 degrees, 8 degrees, 39 degrees. Like yesterday it was like in the 40s, and today it's supposed to be like 20. So who knows?
Yeah.
I'm just every day that we go by that we get closer to spring without a massive snow dump is a victory.
Listen, I was in Buffalo last week for work, and we had a dinner the night before, and they had this impending weather that was supposed to come at 8 p.m. And we came out of dinner and there was nothing. And they're like, "Oh, I got pushed back a couple hours. Well, I went to bed, and when I woke up at 6 a.m.
11:30.
6 a.m. in Buffalo, I look out the window and I'm like, "Oh boy." So I get up, I get around. I had to borrow a shovel from the hotel.
How much snow did they
plow had plowed in the parking lot, like in front of the cars, and it was like 14 inches of snow.
Good thing they have natural gas to heat their homes.
What?
Good thing they have natural gas to heat their homes.
It is a good thing they have natural gas to heat their homes. That's a great segue, Joe.
What?
Into a one.
We're not sure.
I thought we were doing a new section.
When is that new section?
Maybe not yet.
Maybe not yet.
I think we should do that at the end of the program.
Okay, we'll do it on the backside.
Let's build suspense.
Okay, we have a new section coming up for our guests, the new segment, and it's going to be
you, Doug.
Some article reviewing by the three of us. And
don't say what it is. Just shush it.
Yeah,
it'll be really fun.
You're like giving hints on Christmas presents, like a week before Christmas. Relax.
Giving hints so that they actually stay tuned and watch it.
Calm down, goat.
God over all things.
Oh, I got.
Do we have an idiom this week, Joe?
Yeah.
What is it?
I hope so, because Chad put up the background. Idiom.
You ever hear this? Like, you have to learn the ropes or know the ropes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, you guys know what that means. Like somebody has to become experienced at what they're doing, or show someone the ropes.
Yep.
And you want to? We'll start with
shipbuilder, like somebody that works in a.
Ted goes first.
No,
I want him to go because he started that town together.
Mine's somebody that works on a like a sailor or something of the sort.
But
tie a lot of knots.
Oh, ties a lot of knots. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Knowing the ropes, I'll go to. I know this is wrong, but when I hear know the ropes, to me it always reminds me of Muhammad Ali's rope-a-dope. Knowing how to use the ropes in your favor, knowing how to use the intricacies of boxing and whatnot.
See, that's why I wanted you to go first, because you would have definitely said ships, but you just went different because Chad said ships. 100%. No one would have said no. That's the terrible.
I still would have said ships though.
Yeah, he would have. Chad has. You've gotten like.
I'm not creative.
You've gotten like 60% of them pretty close. Chad's gotten about 6%. And they weren't even that close. All right, so Chad is actually.
Hold on. Here's my other one. Cowboy.
Oh,
no.
That's a good one.
So
Yellowstone shout out. Season 4 just finished it.
Oh, I can't get into that show. This phrase has its origins in the golden age of sailing. There you go, Google. When understanding how to handle the ropes necessary to operate a ship and its sails were an essential maritime skill. By the mid-19th century, it was a common slang expression, and it now survives to this day. So basically, knowing the ropes was knowing how to, handle a sailboat, how to get around on a.
I was right.
On a ship.
Sort of.
Well, you said tie knots, but.
Well, you knew what I meant.
I'm not reading into that. You get no credit.
If you can't tie the knot, you can't sail the boat.
You are awarded 0 points, and we are all dumber for having heard your response.
You clearly haven't ever been sailing.
No, I made that up.
Can't tie the knot, you can't sail the boat.
Oh God!
How do you tie off the sail?
This is going to turn into Chad's idiot corner.
That's fine. I'll make one of those too. Hang on. I
already have the other side.
I already have one.
Yeah.
There you go.
There it is.
It still says my name.
Hang on. I put my thumb over it on my screen.
There we go.
Right.
Golly, that's great. That's great. So now it's time for the weekly.
You know what? I'm going to challenge you guys. Can I challenge you guys something?
You're gonna. It's not gonna matter if we.
I'm going to challenge you guys next week to come with a gas fact.
No.
Can you remind me when we're on our pre-call before?
Come on, just write it down. Just you guys try to come with.
You got to write it down somewhere that's going to matter though.
Put it on your forehead. Actually, write it on Ted's forehead. You'll see it. Write it down.
I'll bring the gas fact.
Next week, I want you guys to come up with one. I will too, or maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see.
Do you mind sending one?
Joe, one of us will do it.
$10. Just Venmo me $10. I'll send you one.
Your list that I can pick one up.
I'm running out, guys. I'm gonna have to start actually making a new list.
We've been at it for a year, so
I know. So this one is actually going to be, as you guys know, I posted on LinkedIn. So I'm going to post it on LinkedIn again, which I already did. So this one's about gas meters. So as you guys all know, you have a gas meter on your home or residence or building or whatever it is that measures the what?
The amount of gas that comes in your.
Yeah.
So people can do what?
So
pay the gas man.
So they can bill you.
Yeah.
Essentially, right? It's metering.
So the utility can make money off of you.
The technology is very old, but the very first practical gas meter was invented by a gentleman named Samuel Clegg in England. And I want you guys to let me know what you think, what year it was. I'm going to give you choices.
Okay.
So the choices are 1912,
okay,
1815, 1902, or 1873.
1873.
Hang on.
I swear, Joe, that you may have put this in.
I'm going 18.
Hold on,
I'm
hold
going
on.
18.
In one of your in one of your trainings for like.
I haven't.
No,
I haven't because I just learned this today myself.
Okay.
I don't think it's the first one. I think it's the same as Ted, but I'm going to go the first one because I don't want to answer the same as Teddy.
1912. Can you just remember the numbers? The only thing you ever say is the first one, the middle one, and the last one.
If you read them in order, you should know the answer.
1912, 1815, 1902, 1873.
1873.
I go 1815.
It is actually 1815, and that wasn't.
That's what I meant as the first one.
Right, exactly. That's why I read them again. 1815 was the year that was invented. Now there was like a wet meter and a dry meter, but the today's like version of a meter didn't come out until like the 1840-ish, where it was actually like kind of commercialized. But the very first one was invented in 1815. So Samuel Clegg.
What year? Never mind. I'm gonna
Go ahead, ask the question. Let's see.
It's gonna be. I'm just gonna look it up. So I don't
just ask the question.
I want to know what year Jack the Ripper was around, because that's where I came up with.
That was like the late 1800s.
That's what I thought, and I just knew there was gas.
And how does that relate to the gas fact?
Because there was gas. I know a lot about it for some weird reason, and there was gas lights. That's how I knew that. That's year. Sorry.
Okay.
But I didn't know it. It is 18.
I guess I'm gonna have to watch that movie now because I've never seen it.
They're all.
Well, so it was a true story. It wasn't necessarily just a movie.
No.
You didn't know that?
No, I did not know that.
Oh, you should definitely check it out because they still haven't figured out who it was.
Who, Jack the Ripper? Yeah, they still don't know.
You just ruined the whole movie for me because now I know that.
No, it's
not a movie.
Not a movie. It's a story. It's true.
Now
I'm telling you nothing that the average human being doesn't know.
How have you never heard of Jack the Ripper?
I've heard of it. I've just never done any exploration.
I thought it was a movie.
Yeah, because there's a lot of movies, Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, but
because it was an awesome story.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was
for the guy who knows everything about movies, you know, and never
I didn't know if it was fact or fiction, and it's never really appealed.
Oh, we should do a fact and for fiction.
Fiction.
Write that down. Somebody write that down. That'll be a new segment.
Fact or fiction.
Yeah, for Teddy.
Okay.
Teddy's fact or fiction.
Teddy's.
Well, you don't have to come up with it. We just.
All right, let's go. Okay, we're falling apart.
I can do that.
All right, do we have a guest this week? Or
look at Ted actually taking an action item, right?
I give it 2 weeks.
This week, we're bringing on Kelly Nissenbaum. Kelly's a pretty interesting story. She came out of, I believe she went to Ohio State and then came out of there in essentially the hospitality industry, working at Hilton's and Hyatt's for quite a while, like 6 years before she got into this. She did. She worked for Hyatt for like 10 months before. Hyatt's.
Upscale Hyatt?
No, unfortunately not.
She went to work.
She went to work for Mid Ohio Pipeline Company then, and she spent about 7 years there. And she left about 6 months ago, and she's been doing business development this whole time, but has some big opportunities and doing a lot of stuff at Castle. So it'll be a lot of fun to talk to her.
Yeah, and we actually got to meet Kelly at SGA this year. She participated in our
game show.
Yeah, game show jackpot.
Happy hour.
She was a very willing and fun participant. That's how we got to know Kelly, and happy to have her on the show.
Absolutely.
All right. Without further ado, welcome to the show, Kelly Nissenbaum. Hello, Kelly, and welcome to Connections for Life. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What's going on, Kelly?
Oh, I just became that person that awkwardly waves in Zoom videos.
Right,
I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Keep them below the camera.
Yeah, just keep them below.
As long as you don't answer, well, when I was doing this. Try to keep that to a minimum.
Like a little dance.
So Kelly, first of all, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate you coming on, taking your time. I know it's a busy week for everybody. The lead into Christmas, right? What's today, guys? The 21st? Is that what we're recording? 20th?
20th. It's my son's 15th birthday.
Look at that. Good thing you're getting your
happy
carpet
birthday.
shampoo. Yeah, bring him in.
Crazy. No, he's sleeping still because my better half gave him the day off of school.
Oh, well, good for him. Anyways, Kelly. Yeah, right, exactly. Let's get you started where we start everybody else. You guys do some interesting things in the industry, but let's ask about you personally. How did you get into the industry, and how did you get your start?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually worked for Hilton Hotels for 10 years. I was an event planner, really anything that you can manage in a hotel, from the front desk to the food and beverage portion, housekeeping, I have had the opportunity to work in. So I was joking around. I went from working in hotels to living in hotels. So about a little over 7 years ago, I was given the opportunity by another company that was located in Ohio, and it was a pipeline construction company. And I was actually planning their Christmas parties for a couple years. And he would always joke around. He was like, "You're going to come work for me one day." And I was like, probably not going to. Like, oil and gas, hotels, don't really see the correlation, but thanks for the opportunity. It just kind of became a running joke every year that I was at their Christmas party. He'd call me on stage and be like, "This is Kelly. She's going to work for us someday." And eventually I did. Persistence is key, I guess. Not only in sales, but I guess when you're going to get someone to come work for you. So I worked for a company in Ohio for about 7 years, small pipeline construction contractor. They did mostly like poly and utility work. And then I had the opportunity about 3 months ago to work for a much larger contractor, and I'm there now. It's called Castle, formerly known as Progressive Pipeline. Exactly.
It depends on where you are on the screen.
Yeah.
Like down here for me.
You can move me wherever you want on yours. It's not going to make any sense either way.
No. So I decided that after 7 years, it was time to try something kind of bigger and expand my network. And I now get to cover 39 states with a team of
just 39.
Like Joe.
39.
I got 48.
Actually,
Oh,
you have 50. You just haven't been to the other two yet.
They won't let me go to Hawaii.
I was gonna say, which ones are you allowed to cover? Because Hawaii would be really nice.
Yeah, no.
So how you started out, Kelly, leads me to a ton of different questions.
Wait a minute, really quick before you move on. Are you still attending the Christmas party for the other? Were you going to ask that?
It was one. I wrote it down. I did write it down. It's one of
I was just wondering, are you still invited to the other company's Christmas party?
So ironically, the year after, so I left Hilton and I went to Hyatt and worked there for a year. And I went back and I forced the company I was working for to let me banquet serve their party because I was like a bit of a control freak and I like didn't know if they were gonna like screw up the party. And that's the reason that he was like, "Hey, I've been trying to get a hold of you. Can we grab lunch? Like, I want you to come work for us." And that was actually how I got back to like him asking me to work there. But no, I thought about trying to crash their party this year because it's
you totally should have.
But I don't know if they would appreciate
not happy this year.
Yeah, right. You just lurked from the lobby.
Well, I'm so super close with everybody who works there. So like I know the date and time and like where they're having it. So I was like, this could be fun. I could just
sit in the parking lot. Is you get a little folding chair.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I feel like we just instigated something. I don't know.
My riveting question was, are you still what hotel brand do you stay at now that you went to living in hotels?
So ironically, I started with Hilton and I travel so much that I can stay at both Hilton and Marriott and like be fine, but I'm slowly switching to Marriott because they have a better program.
I've been trying to convince these guys to switch to Marriott for the last couple of months. Their points program is so much better than
but there's not a lot of Marriott properties on the East Coast, really. There's more on the West Coast than there are.
Yeah, I would struggle with that because like everywhere we go in the Northeast here, there's Hopper.
Who picked him up?
He was whining at my lap when you were talking, and I was like, "This is going to be bad if he doesn't get up here."
He likes me already. I'm supposed to have him.
Slap the label on.
But no, I would struggle to move to Marriott just because I don't know. I'm kind of married to the Hilton brand.
Same.
So, I guess kind of. After that, the riveting question, it's got to be a heck of a change going from that side of it. And I can't even imagine trying to manage hotels and do all that because it just doesn't sound fun at all. Like, I guess
household.
No, I can't even manage myself.
No, we know.
It's just, it's got to be pretty amazing because you went from there. And then what did you do for the other company? Was it business development right away? And how was that stepping into, you know what I mean? Because your background wasn't really, I mean, I guess it was sales at some point in the hotel industry, but it wasn't really based on that. So how was that change?
So it was definitely tough. And in all honesty, when I took the position, I didn't actually know what business development meant.
I've been doing
Joe still doesn't either, and that's his title. Yeah.
I would say still to this day, sometimes I question what it actually is.
Not really sales, but it is kind of, but not really. Yeah,
it's
I know.
More
I got you.
Relationship building and just and branding and marketing. There's so many aspects of it. And I do appreciate the fact that they kind of let me make it what I needed it to be and what my skill set was.
You know why?
Why?
Because they don't know either.
Exactly. Nobody does.
Yeah.
But when I came on board, I flat out told them, I go, I am not a salesperson. I'm not going to be that person that sits in a room and picks up the phone and calls somebody and creates these transactional relationships of when I need something and I need projects. So if that's what you're looking for, I am not your girl. I'm not going to be successful. I don't want to come on board and promise you something that it's not. So they really, I mean, the first 2 years that I worked in the industry was strictly me learning and finding people that had been in the industry a very long time and asking those so-called dumb questions like, what's a compressor
Absolutely.
station?
Yeah.
How does midstream and downstream and upstream really correlate to each other? Like things that I never thought that would be in my vocabulary has become something that's so natural and interesting to me that it blows my mind every day. But it really did. Like I found key people, whether it be clients or vendors or people in the field. Like I'm so thankful. I probably have in my Rolodex 10, 12 people that I still call on a regular basis to ask questions when I have zero idea what I'm talking
That's
about.
that's one of the most amazing things about our industry, really, is there's so many people that, you know, I could pick up the phone and call 20 or 30 people and just ask us what I would deem a stupid question. And they'd probably call it a stupid question, but they'd answer it for me.
Exactly.
Well,
They'll give you all the details on it. And then if they don't have every single answer, they'll point you to that next person that you may not know. And that's really what made me fall in love with business development and the oil and gas industry. Is in the hotel industry, like you have your hotel, you have your job, you get a project, you make your money and you move on. And in oil and gas and business development, you could meet somebody and at that point, they may not quote unquote be able to help you or provide you a project in regards to like an ROI at that moment. But 3 years from now, you never know where that person could be or how that person could affect your career or how you can affect theirs. I love the fact that not only is business development about finding projects for your company to work on, but it's who do you know that's looking for a job that you can maybe able to connect somebody to, or what association are you part of that you may be able to provide education to somebody? There's just so much more than just sitting on the phone and being like, hey, what projects do you come up? And that's really
Teddy talks about it a lot because, you know, I've been in this industry since I'm 20, essentially. So more than half my life, but Teddy's only been in it about 3.5 years now.
3.5 years now. But the one thing that I've learned throughout the different business aspects that I've done in my life, whether it be I was in the construction industry for a decade, I served in the military, and then I got into manufacturing sales and business sales. But one of the things I learned early on was people, it's all about the people. People will do business with who they like. All right. And
that's why you don't sell anything.
That's 100% why Chad's getting fired on January 1. We just haven't told.
And there was the prediction for you that he had before we started recording.
No, honestly though, it's all about relationships. That's it. And I have to speak to because I don't know enough. I don't know enough about anything. I've been doing it 3.5 years. I call Joe or Chad or one of our principals every single day and ask a question like Chad said, like, oh, I should know the answer to this. But to know that he's been doing it, he's been in the industry basically since he was 20 and he still does it, makes me feel okay. Having done this show and being able to realize it's so big and it's such a wide gambit of areas that, you know, we're never going to figure it all out.
No, and being honest about that. Like, if you don't know something, be the first person to step and say, the moment you try and like pretend that you know what you're talking about, that person is going to be able to understand you're not that I don't want to say you're not trustworthy, but like, just be honest. It's not that hard. Hey, I don't know exactly what you're asking me, but let me find out, and like immediately go find out and go back to that person is going to create so much more trust.
I really like how that just became kind of a selling. That's a big thing in selling. What you just said is essentially just to be honest. If you don't know, you don't know. You're better off saying you don't know, and I'll get you an answer from somebody who does than just trying to worm your way through, right?
It just makes you look a little skeevy.
Yeah, it definitely does. I do that myself without lying about things.
Well, at least you can admit it, but no.
I can verify that. Kelly, I want to kind of switch gears back to your current position and current company. I'd be lying if I know kind of what Castle totally does and is. So just really kind of curious, what do you guys do? What is your focus on? Tell us a little bit more about the organization that you work for.
Absolutely. So Castle is formerly known as Progressive Pipeline. We actually rebranded the entire company in March of 2021. So in the midst of COVID. But we really did that. A lot of people ask the question, they're like, did you sell? Did Castle get purchased by somebody? There's a lot of assumptions out there, and it truly was just a rebrand. Castle is actually the name of the family that owns Castle.
Sick name. I wish I had a cool name. Like
I know,
Right.
Joe Castle. That'd be awesome.
Awesome name, Chad Castle.
That's
And
not
they're
cool.
like literally the most incredible people ever. So like the name totally goes with them. And that was really why I went over to Castle.
You made the change, yeah.
It became, I love the company I work for, but they were sold in 2018, and I just love that family atmosphere. I loved being able to pick up the phone and call the president of the company if something was good, bad, or ugly. And that's what this kind of allowed for me, not to transition back to why I went over there, but so they rebranded in 2021, and it was really just to step away from the assumption that we were a large pipeline contractor, because Castle actually has 6 divisions within the company. So they have their pipeline division, their facility division, their integrity management group, and their HDD group. We also have a renewables / kind of that up and coming energy sector that we all.
You must go to every trade show in the country. Like,
we literally set our events for next year, and it's pretty intense.
because when you hit integrity, you hit every corrosion show. Like,
Right.
you know, once you get into that portion, and then renewables, I can't even imagine the shows coming out with that.
And that was literally how we started our business. So when this transition of people assuming we were pipeline contractors, and then we showed up at integrity shows, they're like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "That's most of our business. That's what we. That's really
That's
what we
wild.
started in."
How many
but
shows do you do a year, Kelly?
We are upwards of
No, you personally.
Personally, I mean, so I just started with Castle, so
Gotcha,
it's going
right.
to change a little bit for next year, but I was probably doing like in the high 30s.
Now she's scheduled to do like 406. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be a big deal.
Yeah. You may as well not even get. Yeah.
And home since March 5th.
I was gonna say you may as well not even get out an apartment or a house. Like just live on the road. Forget it. Be done. Get a minivan. Just,
I
Yeah.
was gonna say I have an expedition, and literally the trunk is completely full right now because I've been gone for so long.
Well,
Wow.
that's funny to transition to the next question that I'm jumping in and stealing. All right.
You go.
Essentially, you know, besides meeting the wonderful Connections for Life crew at a trade show by partaking in one of our wonderful events, what's your favorite part of the industry and your job now that you've been doing it just a little while and you've got an idea what it looks like for next year? So
Honestly, it's getting to interact with not only clients, but people that we can work alongside. The trade shows are really fun. I mean, you can never go wrong. But
I'd like to ask you that
You
question.
can definitely go wrong with the trade
I would
show.
like to ask you that question again in 2 to 3 years.
yeah.
You're gonna be like, I got another show to do. It's always the same thing.
It's got my amazing part. It's got to be tough that you were the person that coordinated them, and now you go to some that are probably not amazing, and you're like, yeah, it's got to be tough.
It's so funny because people will be like, so that's how. So unfortunately and fortunately, because of being an event planner, I get asked all the time to be on boards. So I am on the board of the Appalachian Pipeliners as their vice president this year. I just finished. Ooh, what was that?
I said, look at you. That's fancy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but
That's cool.
Yeah, I just finished 2 years on the Women's Energy Network Greater Pittsburgh board as their director of
that's Katie Salisbury. You know Katie.
Hi, Katie.
I know
Hi,
Katie.
Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Katie's been on the show before. She doesn't watch after her episode, though. It's okay. Yeah.
Well, I'll force her to watch this one.
Thank you. There you go.
Yeah, please do.
No, Katie's phenomenal. So Katie's actually on the APA board as well. So
Okay.
she's our membership director. So we've kind of roped her in.
She goes to a lot of mixers.
She
We
does.
we tease her before COVID. We constantly tease her because every time I'd see her, I'd be like, "What are you doing for dinner?"
I go to a mixer.
For, and I'm like, "A mixer? What are you, 1958?" Like,
Yeah.
I've never
She's
been to
got
one
her,
in my
like,
life.
big hoop skirt on. No.
We got to get to one of these, Cool.
You need to come up. You can hang out with Katie and I because we
Yeah,
usually go
that's
together.
great.
But yeah, so we have APA when the national board for when I'm the hospitality chair for the annual convention. I am on the Women's Pipeliners Network board in Houston, and then I'm on the Houston Pipeliners golf outing committee for
When
their
do you do your job?
She does. That is her job. That is her job.
So
It has become her job.
that's probably my favorite part is like I get to take the hospitality skill set and still utilize
That's kind of
them.
neat.
That's cool.
But it's exhausting at times.
Oh, it's
Like
gotta be.
how many
Yeah,
conference
but
calls
you
do I
love
have?
it. So that's the difference.
I do.
Because if it went away tomorrow, you'd complain that you didn't get to do it anymore. So
Oh, I'm already sad about not being on the One Greater Pittsburgh board, and it's because I had to give it up because I physically need to do my new job.
I have one question before we go for the last one. Did you
Yeah.
you went to Ohio State, right?
Yeah, go
What
Bucks.
was your go Bucks? That's me too. But was your major hospitality?
It was.
Ah,
yeah.
okay. I wondered if that's
computer
what
programming in
you never know, but you never know. Sometimes people end up like, they could be a computer program, end up working at a hotel and staying there for a long time. You don't really, who knows?
Well, my sister,
Yeah, no.
my sister went to Cornell for
To be a
their
lawyer.
hospitality hotel management
That's like
program
the
or
best
whatever.
one in the world or something like that, right?
What?
Yeah.
Isn't like
For
Cornell
hotel.
like the #1 hospitality school or whatever?
Well, that's what's funny. She went there and she did it for a couple of years and she hasn't done it in over 20 years now.
The thing about hotel management, and this is what I am very thankful for, it teaches you how to talk to people, how to interact.
It's
Like
gotta be
I'm
awful.
definitely a people pleaser. So like if anyone needs anything, I'm the first person to just be able to run up and handle it. But that's what I was taught in school is how to take care of people, how to have conversations, how to throw parties.
I'd work there for I'd work there for 12 minutes. The first time I came in was when I'd be done.
100%.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But this is so much better because you kind of get the best of all the worlds.
Well, it's cool that you still can transition some of what you used to do into your new job. I think that's important because it's obviously something you went to school for and you enjoy doing. So kudos to you for being able to carry that over. I think we talk a lot to our guests as far as like where the industry is, where we're heading. There's a lot of, you had mentioned earlier, your business, your organization just opened up or has now a division for renewables and things like that. I guess we just like to ask everybody, regardless of how long you've been in the industry, from your perspective and your company's perspective, kind of where do you see the future of natural gas going? And what do you think the next 2, 3, 5 years look like for all of us?
Honestly, we're really excited about it. With Castle, and again, why I transitioned over is their skill set and their divisions allow for diversity within the company. And I think that's required nowadays in oil and gas, specifically natural gas, because there's so much change specifically. I mean, I'm up in the Northeast. Texas obviously is a whole different ball game. But especially in my area, it is slowing down on those large pipeline projects. The integrity side is going to be there. I mean, especially with the mega rule and things changing, with us being able to provide everything from a 2-inch 500-foot replacement to 140-mile 42-inch pipeline. Wow. You have to diversify, and it's going to be there, and we're going to continue to be busy. But in order to provide the necessary services that are required for the changing, I mean, the infrastructure bill alone is going to change things. It's going to allow us to really keep working on that side. But it's—
You mean the one that just got smacked down?
Look at Ted. Look at Ted's mind. Look at Ted's face. His mind's going, how do I sell stuff to Kelly's company, Castle? Look at him. He's like this.
100%.
When you said from 2-inch to 140, and he was like, or 140 miles,
but
it's like, I don't know.
But it's also better than watching him put on chapstick like a serial killer.
Just the best part is he can't argue. He can't argue.
Puts the lotion on the skin. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Not crazy.
Before we let you go, and I'm sorry we interrupted you I'll let you finish that thought. But the last thing I want to leave with is we met you in a relatively interesting way.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to I want to get your perspective on that event because we haven't really.
Oh, that's a good question, Joe.
So I'll let you finish with the future, but I'd like you to finish the interview or whatever you want to call these things as just kind of like how we met, and if you want to tell that story, that'd be cool.
Absolutely.
All right.
So to finish the original question, specifically like based on our company, we're really excited about the future. Like there's so many opportunities with our new business development team, being able to kind of open new doors and new avenues, just not only in natural gas, but also kind of across the board, and being able to work in 39 states on the pipeline, the facility, the integrity management, the HED. We also have a reclamation group, and then obviously the new solar. But diversifying is really what's going to be required for a lot of the companies, not only pipeline contractors, but operators. They're going to have to add in the renewables onto their pipeline side to be able to get those green credits. So we're excited about it. That's really what's most. But the fun story of how we met. I feel like it's like how I met.
I don't even remember. That was a whirlwind.
So the SGA conference is ironically, so when I started at Castle, my now current boss and my current colleague, we actually met at the Southern Gas Association conference about 7 years ago. So not only did I meet my current employer, but I also met the three of you. So I feel like it was a match made in heaven here.
Yeah. You don't know.
Are you guys hiring or?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Where do I send my resume?
You got spot for free or
just making some notes?
But we were at our booth, and obviously with COVID and everything that's going on in the industry, it was a little bit slower than I would
underwhelming.
Say. Yeah, a little underwhelming. So we were being pelted by Nerf guns, by
Nerf arrows,
rockets,
Nerf rockets.
And you all were doing so during the networking portion of the evening, you all were doing the game show, and Ted was walking around with the mic and nobody could find him. And
that's because he was 12 white calls in, I think, at that point.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Which in his defense is only like a quarter of his day's intake.
14 mango white claws. That's what you got on a Teddy right there.
But you guys kind of pulled us over for the game show, and of course, any reason to win things we're in for. And I love any reason to get people like out of their booths and moving around, because let's be honest, if I had stood there any longer, I was probably either going to end up asleep under the table. Oh my God, it was rough.
I ate my brownie. I'm still mad about that guy eating my brownie. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you are still upset about that.
Ate your brownie?
Remember I sent text to go get the brownie, and he ate it on me.
Yeah.
You're watching this text. You know who you are.
We're gonna
no, we don't know who you are, honestly. You're completely safe. Joe has no idea who you are, or he would have messaged you already.
I just remember walking past with Joe past your booth, and you were like, "Hey, like, where'd you come up with the idea for the shirts and the shorts and the flip-flops?" Yeah. I mean, we're flying shirts, shorts, and flip-flops. And I was like, it was his idea. And that was Joe. And I go, his whole idea was because he didn't want to wear shoes anymore to anything. And that's where it came from.
My whole goal in life. You know, people have goals to like be something. My goal is to never have to wear shoes again. But that's what I strive for every day.
Memorable. And that's what it's all about. Like, everybody has a booth. Everybody has giveaways. Like, you have to do stuff that is memorable. And that was memorable. And you guys looked comfortable.
So,
and I was like,
I have one more question now that you said that, and knowing your background and knowing everything about it. And we said this maybe in our intro or outro for the show last week or something along the lines, but could you see now that we'll say that 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 wall's been broken down of you have to be male, pale, and stale for these kind of trade shows in our industry, and you have to wear your same pleated khaki pants and
your button down
and your polo or your button down at every single show, and we kind of broke that barrier. Do you see that there'll maybe some other places and other displays will change kind of towards ours, you think, or you think it'll remain the same?
I think it has to change. No offense to the trade shows, but they're very stuffy.
Boring.
Yeah, and no offense, I don't want to walk up to a booth and just be like, "What are your services? Can I have a cookie?" Like,
Oh,
it's,
so what cookies?
Here's a stress ball.
yeah, like
Yeah.
here's another giveaway. And that's what it's all about, really, is the interaction and learning who these companies are. And there has to be a way to draw people in and be memorable, because if there's, and that trade show was a perfect example, because there was no reason to bring people down to that room
That was
unless,
weird. Yeah.
exactly, like they have to be set up well. And I'm not saying anything negative about
Yeah, it was
that
just, it was a
show.
post-COVID deal. It was, everything was
Yeah.
a little wonky.
You didn't get to go to AGA, did you, Kelly?
No, I literally, that was like the week that I was transitioning.
Our booth there went with the Hawaiian shirts a lot better. Our whole booth was had a beach theme, and we had couches and the whole thing. Yeah, it was
Please
really
tell me
cool.
you brought in sand.
No, we had sand carpet.
We did have sand carpet. It was the
You know
only
how much,
carpet. that
you know how
did
much it
not
would have
match
cost to
the
bring in
entire
sand? It would have been
place.
$10 million.
It cost $290 to get 2 boxes delivered to our booth. Like they were like this big. Like I'm
Tables are like $500 now at conferences. You have to bring your own at some of them.
Yeah.
A paper garbage can was
But,
$50 or $100 a day. It was a paper garbage can.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But
we
that's
didn't get
what-
real
that's
sand
what needs
next
to
time.
change, is we need to think of more creative ways to do things. So not so that we don't have to pay for tables and carpet and things like that. But if you're not making it fun, then what is the worthwhile ROI
Right.
on doing those things?
I just
What
think
brings people in?
my whole premise with this is, and I was kind of the person that thought up the whole booth and how we wanted to do it and stuff. And
You were the person, not kind of.
well, my whole thought
You
process
are.
behind that was like, I just, it's so boring and stale. And like, I don't really care about being memorable as much as it was to just make sure that we were all having a good time.
We
while
were
doing it.
occupied.
And we found, I mean, I wore a damn flamingo suit, for goodness sakes. So, I mean, like
At AGA, yeah, it was nice.
at
though.
AGA, I mean, there's just, we wanted to make it silly and fun. And the memorable thing pairs with that, I think, because it is different. But Chad's always said, and we try to live by this, even when we did this show and we started this, was the most kind of outrageous thing kind of wins. And
Especially
we're
now.
you know, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and stuff, and we would just want to loosen up the industry a little bit and have a little bit more fun. I just want to say before we let you go, thank you for being a part of the game show thing. I mean, it was really hard to get people at that point in time to kind of come around and focus in on something. And you guys and your crew and the people that you guys were with were really helpful for us to give us some, not only to be there, but also to give us some confidence and like
energy
with us and energy. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, we didn't know what we were doing. And I picked up that mic and it was just like, let's see what happens. So, without you guys being there close and being part of that and participating, it probably wouldn't have been as comfortable for us as it was. So thank you for that. We really do appreciate that.
We're always up for a good time when it comes to getting people involved.
Be careful what you ask for, Kelly. Be careful what you ask for.
I wore a dinosaur suit to a Women's Energy Network golf outing once because I wanted people to feel comfortable. So I was just the most ridiculous. Me and my colleague who helped plan it, like we ran around the golf outing in dinosaur suits because we just wanted people to loosen up and have a good time and have something to laugh about and remember. So
That's kind of the whole point, right?
It is. There's, we have a. I'll leave with this. We have a gentleman that Chad and I worked with for a long time, who always used to say, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. And, a little shout out to Mr. Mike Talent, but he's since retired and living his best life now. But it is so important. It is so important to love what you do and have fun while you're doing it. So, anyways, with that being said, you guys have anything else?
No.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Kelly,
you.
for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you, and very happy to be on here, and definitely happy to kind of fill y'all in on what
Awesome.
we're doing.
Yeah, we love it.
And I'm going to
So
figure
thank
out a
you.
way for us to sell a bunch of stuff to Castle. So
And I'm just going to say the next time I'm in Pittsburgh, we should get together.
Yeah, 100%. She's
Chad
never
and
in
I-
Pittsburgh, though. She's never
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh. Though.
she's in the other 38 states.
I'll
Not
be there
Pennsylvania.
a little bit. If you give me like a week's notice, I'll probably be there.
We've been
can
trying to
definitely make
record
that
this
happen.
for 6 weeks. You know that, Kelly?
I know, I'm sorry.
And you're still not home.
Yeah, and
No,
you're
I'm
still
not.
out there.
We got
All right.
4 pre-calls. It's a
No.
different background every time.
Hours.
Kelly,
All right,
thank you
good.
so much.
All right, Kel.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you joining
Kelly.
us.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again. I appreciate it.
Kelly, thank you so much for the insightful conversation and dialogue. We really, really appreciate having you on the show.
It weirds me out that you try and change it from what you do. You should just say Kelly.
Wow, Kelly.
Wow. Thank you.
Awesome interview.
Adapt and overcome, man.
No, I think it's cool to
better.
meet new people. I think it's cool to meet new people. And Kelly's like, she's just got a lot of energy and she's fun. And you know, I think
it was funny during the pre-call when like you and Chad know Pittsburgh pretty well, and like you were like, oh yeah, you live by this thing and that thing, and I ride this, and I'm going, I've never been there, and you know, I've been there, but I've never been to like anything like that. And you guys all know the geographical area. So.
I think the cool thing about our show is the connections part, honestly, and getting to meet new people. And most of the people we meet are new that we have never met before in some capacity. But we met her not through the show. We met her actually in person, and then she came on the show, which is I think the first person that we've done that with.
Yeah, that is
it's different for sure.
Oh, maybe not. Teddy met a couple of people but all of us,
I knew them though. All those guys I knew. So
yeah, we met. I mean, we literally met her, and then she had her come on the show. So Kelly, thank you for coming on, and good luck with all that you're doing. And I know we'll cross paths really, really, really soon.
Very, very soon. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure.
So after we gave you a little preview in the first half of the show here,
we're going to talk about Jack the Ripper now because Ted knew nothing about it.
Yeah, we're going to actually, it's going to be a 4-hour read of the entire book. We're actually just going to play the movie on this. I'm just hold on a second. I pulled it up on Netflix. I'm just
live
going to share my
reactions
screen
to Jack the Ripper. No, realistically, Chad put up a cartoon background for some strange reason, but we have this new section of the show that we're going to try out where we review some articles on industry news and kind of state our personal facts and opinions on it. Thoughts.
Personal facts?
I was going to say, I said facts. I meant thoughts. I don't talk real well.
You meant thoughts.
I don't talk so good.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Why'd you change your dialect when you said that? Are you you know,
good? I don't know, that's how you sounded. Can you see it?
Now we can.
All right. So this is one we kind of talked about earlier, guys.
You should give credit to where it comes from too, Joe. I know it's.
I will. So this comes from naturalgasworld.com. It's actually kind of a cool website if you've never been on there. I stumbled on it about a week ago.
You have to subscribe.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to subscribe, but it doesn't. It's your email address, which is, you know, whatever. We plug that in for everything. But I thought this was interesting, and I just wanted to talk about it and get your guys' take on it. So the United States became the world's biggest exporter of LNG in December. This is the first time. Typically, it's Qatar. I think last year it was Australia. But now we are the largest exporter, which I found to be pretty cool. So, any thoughts about that from you boys? Or
I think it's neat. You know, we had a conversation earlier with some future guests about this same thing. It's right on though. It's pretty amazing. I mean, the most amazing part is I remember getting in this, not when I got into the industry, but working for the coating plant. And we had a big project that I bid coming in through the port, and it was actually the pipeline to turn on what I believe is Sparrows Point. It's a Baltimore Gas. It's whatever Baltimore Gas is in that area of Baltimore, their big LNG facility to bring in. So we were coating the pipeline essentially to take the liquefied coming in and then going out. And now here we are today, where I'm pretty sure that facility has been changed to being an export facility, which is pretty interesting and pretty amazing, considering that's only happened in how long did you say, Joe? I mean, that's a really short time, since 2010, right?
Well, yeah. So in 6 years, we sent our first shipment out 6 years ago.
Well, like we were talking about that in an interview we conducted this morning as well, how the plants were being converted to receive to now export. And you know, I've only been in the industry 3.5 years, so I know virtually nothing, and I don't have any experience on this stuff, but I've just watched the change in that amount of time, from like, you know, the standpoint of you know, how much we have in reserves and this and that and all this kind of thing. And the dialogue has changed so much. So it's
well, I mean, impressive. we have a lot of gas. It's just, I'm going to highlight this sentence right here, and then we can move on. But U.S. has reached the top spot among LNG suppliers less than 6 years after sending its first cargo of the supercooled gas overseas. The country was previously a net importer of LNG, but its production has grown by some 70% since 2010 on the back of the shale revolution. Wow. So, pretty cool stuff. That was the one article that I had. Hold on, there we go. I have another one too that kind of pairs into that. With what we just talked, why, right? Why did that happen? Hold on, I'm going to try to, my computer's kind of being wonky. Hold on.
Why
This
did
is
you
our
close
first.
it?
This is our first run with this, huh?
Why did you close it? Why didn't you
I
just
don't know,
change
man.
tabs?
Because
Joe.
you know why? Because the little block that has all the information on top of it was over my tabs, and I didn't know if I could.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, surging natural gas prices, threat to consumers this winter. So basically, guys, it's if you we can run through this, but we'll just high level it. Essentially, consumers like overseas Europe, they used a lot more last year. Or actually are starting to, because of the cold winter. Last year it wasn't windy, so the windmills didn't go. So it really kind of hurt them. Additionally, Russia scaled back their export. So it's kind of crazy to see that we're actually sending more out because other countries have scaled back. But it's I don't know, it's kind of weird. You look at pricing and stuff, and
well, the price.
Wait, really quick.
I know what you're going to talk about too.
No, really, you can go. But I just want to say this comes from usnews.com. I didn't credit them.
Oh, got you. If you kind of dig into that article a little bit, it kind of tells you how the prices are going up because there's just not enough in the market either way, especially because what happened was once the new administration came over and we stopped drilling on as much drilling and we slowed down. The only way we produce natural gas in the States for the most part is a byproduct of our shale plays,
oil.
right? I mean, our oil production.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are shale plays that are much more rich in just natural gas, obviously, but it's very wet. And it still has to be refined. But once we cut that back, that's where the market started to go up because we stopped drilling as much, we stopped producing as much natural gas. And a lot of people, I don't think, realize that the drilling for oil goes hand in hand for the production of natural gas and other things like propanes and methanes not methanes and just all that stuff.
The other thing that I saw is that freaked me out was the cost. In some instances, it's over 5 times higher now than it was this.
Yeah, I remember the numbers in that.
Lindsay wasn't happy about our
$6 last year at this time to $29 now, and $5 to $27.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, I think it's still winter, and it's still cold, and there's a lot of things going on in the world as far as trying to, New York State just trying to pass a no new gas construction ban.
By 2030, was it?
I think it's 2027.
2027. Wow.
Yeah, by 2030, I think they plan to have most of that completed. But there's a lot of weird stuff in there. I mean, I listen. I think we all can, and we've said it a million times. I think we can all agree that there's definitely a need for new energy sources and being a little bit more energy conscious and conscious of the environment and things like that. That's all super important. I'm not saying that it isn't, but we still have
Scalability.
And
Joe, you know this number off the top of your head. It's probably close. What's the percentage that our natural gas distribution systems emit from leaking pipes? It's very, very low at 4%. You were almost right at 5%. I mean, I said it earlier and I say it all the time. If you don't stop eating red meat, it doesn't matter.
There's so many factors, and I think the easy thing is to point the finger at natural gas or fossil fuels as being the big emissions, target. But and it probably is. Don't get me wrong, but I think taking gas and saying, "Oh, we're just going to go electric," doesn't really fix the problem.
At all.
It just moves the problem from one thing to the other because now you have more expensive costs. Electricity is far less efficient.
40 some percent, right?
It's 3 times as expensive. And you look at most of these places, even though they're going to electric, the electric is actually still being generated from fossil fuels. So I mean, I think there's definitely a push to get coal out. I understand that, and oil heat and things like that. I don't think I think that's kind of coming. That makes a lot of sense. But natural gas is clean.
It's life sustaining, man. Dan says it in a sentence, and he regurgitates it so eloquently that I would never be able to do it justice. But natural gas is life sustaining, and the fact that we've become so efficient at the processes that we get it. It's crazy that the biggest gas fact you ever gave, Joe, was that we literally use the same amount of natural gas today that we did in 1981. I'll never forget that stat for the rest of my life because it's so mind-boggling. If you go back to 1981 and think of the things that have not been invented at the time that are now, and the fact that we are using the exact same amount annually is insane.
With millions upon millions more customers, users.
But the narrative has grown so much too.
The narrative
it.
has to be that it's not just bad. That's what boggles my mind. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not perfect. Nothing is, right? But every single thing that we have in life, like look around at everything you own, required energy. And that energy, for the most part, came from fossil fuels. And while we still need to work on measures to reduce that footprint, I get that. You have to do it in a way that you're not harming people or right now people are struggling to pay their bills. Inflation is up, things are expensive. And to go to an area or push people into an energy sector that's 3 times more expensive seems to not make a lot of sense fiscally. So I just want to point this out that I think that while there's good programs, that it has to stop being such a partisan issue, and it literally needs to be something that people can actually have an open conversation about as to what's best for humanity.
Yeah, and it needs to be educational too. It can't just be that's a tough thing.
It can't be you're wrong because you disagree with me.
Yeah.
You've created this subset of people that just believes fossil fuels are horrible things and that there's no good way and any fossil fuel is bad. And then you've created the other subset of people that thinks renewables is a joke. And I think that there's truth in both. There's truth on both sides. And if you could just figure out a way to kind of
bridge the gap,
a platform to be able to take this, what's good, and this, what's good, and sort of marry them together.
It's a shame, but most of our society doesn't do that anymore.
No.
Well,
on anything. I wish
it's
people. But maybe there'll be that unifying voice. And
people have forgotten how to disagree, but respectfully.
100%. 100%.
It's just how it goes. But anyways, I don't want to get too long-winded on that. We'll throw a couple more articles out there. That was a cool couple of things that you guys probably all know.
I really enjoyed this. I really did. I hope our viewers enjoyed it as much as we did. I think Chad's going to put on his terrible bonds. Maybe we can leave before that happens.
Those are so terrible, man.
Awful.
They make your eyes look like bug eye.
Yeah, it's bad. All right. Hey, Doug, thanks for watching. Leroy, we miss you commenting. And thank you guys so much. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. All right, guys.